Pensacola has many nicknames: the City of Five Flags, Western Gate to the Sunshine State, the Cradle of Naval Aviation, home of the United States Navy's Blue Angels and Blue Wahoos baseball. But one nickname stands out as we start our journey: America's First Settlement. This is a nickname dating back to 1559. Over the next 300 years, Pensacola would change hands to the French, British, Confederate, and United States, which is the reason for the nickname City of Five Flags, due to the rich mix of history and the settlement. So this is where we start our journey through the intercoastal waterways of the Gulf of Mexico and Atlantic coast. The Intracoastal Waterway, or ICW, is a 3,000-mile inland waterway along the Atlantic and Gulf of Mexico coast of the United States, running from Massachusetts southward along the Atlantic seaboard and around the southern tip of Florida, then following the Gulf of Mexico to Brownsville, Texas. Some sections of the waterway consist of natural inlets, saltwater rivers, bays, and sounds. During World War II, we used it to protect resources from German submarines that sank multiple merchant ships off the East Coast. Even as railroads became popular to travel, the ICW offered the most efficient way to move bulk cargo. So this is where it all starts for us. The first segment, the step of a long journey, we depart from Pensacola, America's first settlement, on Boat the Coast. Check us out on TikTok and Instagram. Get engaged in the discussion on boating information and answers to your top questions. Please like and subscribe so we can keep sharing our journey with you. So we split this route up into two legs. The first leg, we're going to leave from the Palafox Pier Yacht and head over to Fort Pickens and check out the National Seashore. Then from there, we're going to head towards Pensacola Beach, and then we'll make our way to Navarre Beach in the second leg. So starting with Navarre in the second leg, we'll hit the Navarre Bridge, then we'll make our way through the islands inside of the Sound in South Okaloosa County, and then we'll finally end up at the Ross Marler Boat Ramp, which we also have a video on, and you can check out that video as well with details on this boat ramp. So we headed out of the Pensacola Pier Yacht Harbor Marina, and I just want to say thank you to a wonderful team there. They gave us great service. We had a beautiful day as we headed a little bit further west into Pensacola Bay before jumping into the Intracoastal Waterway. This is a great area for fishing. You have to be careful, watch your depth, watch your chart plotter. The structure is fantastic to fish, but will be very disastrous for your boat. This is a great area to target speckled trout and redfish. The Pensacola Bay Bridge, or 3 Mile Bridge, is another great place to fish. There is a fishing pier that's currently closed, has been for a while, but if you can find a boat, getting out here is really going to yield a lot of fish, as well as a great time for everyone. There's a lot of other great structure in this area. Just make sure that you're not just always fishing off of the bottom. You need to really work the water column. I'd love to say that we didn't get distracted, but we absolutely did with checking out the bridge and checking the bite before we headed through the channel into the Intracoastal Waterway near Fort Pickens and then down the National Seashore. As you're boating through these waters, you can't help but feel a huge amount of patriotism and thankfulness to the U.S. Coast Guard as well as the Naval Air Station located here where the Blue Angels call home. We jumped into the Intracoastal Waterway here by Fort Pickens, and there's a perfect beach area here. The entire route, you're never going to find water that's more shallow than 15 feet, but this beach area is absolutely beautiful. There's a campgrounds here, highly recommended. There's a shelf just 20 yards off this beach. It gets 40 feet deep. If you're heading east, you go past Deer Point, and this is how you know you've exited Pensacola Bay, headed towards the Pensacola Beach Bridge. The fishing piers that come out on either side of the bridge are fantastic places to stop at, and I've got to call out the Grand Marlin Restaurant, one of my absolute favorites. That being said, I've spent more time at Paradise Inn. Absolutely love this place. It feels like home, especially to pick up that insurance po' boy or just in case po' boy for the boat. So we stopped before heading on to Navarre Beach. The Sound's about 1.5 miles wide at Pensacola Beach, but as you make your way to Navarre, about 10 miles, it gets down to 1 mile wide. The Navarre Bridge is probably my favorite place to get after some sheephead. Another great fishing location is the Navarre Beach Fishing Pier. It's 1,545 feet long, which is currently the longest fishing pier in the Gulf of Mexico for the state of Florida. You can check out the Navarre Beach Boat Ramp in our Boat Ramp series. We've got tips as well as a breakdown on the amenity. Navarre is a great place to vacation that's full of military and veterans in the area. For the past 3 years, the economy and the population has been booming. As we pass the Navarre Bridge, we're now in the second leg of our trip. Remember, this is when the Sound is going to transition now from being about 1 mile wide to being 1/4 mile wide. So it's important to make sure that you stay in the Intracoastal Waterway within the channel. You do not want to hit the sandbars on the right and left side. They're very clearly marked, so you'll see the signs reminding you to stay away from those snorkel reefs. The It's another 10-mile ride as we get closer to the halfway point for our journey. We've hit mid-afternoon and we start to see traffic increase. And at this point you can start to track the coastlines on either side of the sound start to get closer together where it's about a quarter of a mile apart. This portion of Santa Rosa Sound has many different islands. Kakuf Island, I've never called it that, Spectra Island, Hurlburt Island, Shore. There's a lot of different names for it. Essentially a set of islands that are extremely fun. It's a great spot to anchor up. Maybe you want to do a little bit of fishing, maybe lounge on the beach. Hey, maybe you take the jet ski out and run around. Some even overnight camp here. Although I couldn't find these islands on the Eglin Reservation permit list for camping locations, I do know of people who have camped on these islands and it sounds like it would be fantastic. As it would turn out, we stopped to pick up a couple of friends who were on the islands and needed a ride. We continue down Santa Rosa Sound for about 4 miles towards Brooks Bridge. One of the great things about being in the boating community or on a pier if you're fishing, there's a sense of camaraderie. We're all in this together, and that is exactly the mindset you want to keep when you're on the water. What stands out here? There's a boat that's not moving. If there was an anchor out or some fishing poles, that might explain this, but I can clearly tell that the engine compartment is open. Lucky for us, my skipper knew exactly what to do. He got them hooked up so we could tow them over to Adventure Marina. This man shared with us that he was a 20-year veteran, and we could not be happier in helping him out, especially given our visit earlier in the day to the Coast Guard and being next to Pensacola Naval Aviation Station, as well as all the jets flying over our heads. Now that we're past Brooks Bridge, we're only about a quarter mile away from Ross Marler Park. We traveled 47 miles down the Intracoastal Waterway to Ross Marler Park. You can find a video on this boat ramp in our boat ramp playlist. We also have a video on getting to the Destin Pass from here, and we are releasing next month a video on the route from Ross Marler Park to Panama City Beach. Please like and subscribe and follow, and we'd love to hear from you in the comments. Until next time on Boat the Coast.